Welcome back, the Hate Watchmen, as we take on the sports books, and we take on Vegas, and we give our picks against the spread. I'm going to recap some of our week 2 picks, and then I'm going to go ahead and preview the week 3 ones. The week 2 ones that were the most surprising to me, we were all in unison on, and we were all wrong. So again, sports books make money, and we are schlubs as usual. But it was Dolphins getting 3.5 against Buffalo at home, losing 35-0 as Tua died. All of us were wrong on that one. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen? How surprised were you by that one? I'll toss it to Chris first.
Like, I wasn't necessarily surprised. It was just more like, like disconcerting. Like, it's when your dad tells you that, like, I'm not mad at you, but I'm disappointed. Like, that's how that game felt. You're like, oh, that's even worse. So yeah, like that was an ass whooping. Had some friends in the stands. Like, there's lots of drinking. I can only imagine. But I was wrong. I was wrong on the Dolphins this year.
Andrew, anything to add on that Dolphins-Bills wonderful game?
No, it's about par for the course. Just when you thought they were on an uptick, they pretty much stumbled right into the dirt. Yeah, can't say much.
Well, sticking with that theme of us just being completely wrong and whiffing, I'm going to go ahead and go to the Steelers home opener, in which they were favored by 5.5, and they lost to the Raiders, coming in there off of an overtime Monday Night Football win. So short rest and an overtime game, and they lost by more than they were favored by. I was pretty surprised. It's clear that Steelers team has lots of problems. Derek Carr was just able to convert third down after third down, throwing deep bombs against the Steelers. We saw a Henry Ruggs sighting. I don't know. You have anything more to add to that game, Miller?
No, start the engraving on a tombstone reading Big Ben Roethlisberger. Put that man down.
I just want to say, like, Big Ben is who we thought that Tom Brady was going to be. Where it's just like, and so like the thing with this game is I was like, I can't doubt Big Ben. Every time I doubt that guy, like he manages to pull something off, kind of that Tom Brady mindset of like, nope, not gonna doubt that guy. And I think he's finally at a point where it's like, no, like that guy is washed. He's donezo's, as we like to say here on the program. And yeah, if only that would have happened to Tom Brady. But yes, rest in peace, Big Ben Roethlisberger. We hardly knew ye.
All right, moving on. Give credit where credit is due. I'm moving to this Vikings-Cardinals game where we debated last week, and I tried to use my calculations and spreadsheets to figure out and determine that the Vikings were going to cover and they were going to win this game, even though the Cardinals were favored by 3.5 points. And then I'll just let Chris go ahead and recap what he went ahead and told us last week.
So last week, I called this. I basically said, like, okay, Vikings are going to be down like 1 or 2 to the Cardinals, and they're going to need a field goal to win the game, and they're going to miss the field goal. And that's exactly what happened. That's if you watch Vikings games enough, like you kind of can expect these things to happen, and that's exactly what happened.
Miller, anything surprise you in that Cardinals-Vikings game?
Yeah, this team thinking that they're going to be any different, like you said. I mean, they have so many weapons on that team, and then here we are, like, just trying to inch forward for a field goal. It's like, oh my gosh, they should be better than.
Let's back up a little here. The argument was, so Arizona was favored by 3.5 at home. The big thing there was that half point. It was like, okay, like I like the Cardinals in this game, but like not to beat them by more than a field goal. Like
Right.
it's not going to be a dominant performance. And that was the back and forth with us. And that's where I interjected. I'm like, okay, I still think the Cardinals win, but here's why. And
Sure enough.
Sure enough. Dalvin Cook disappoints. I wonder if that'll be a consistent theme.
I did pick up Matt Asiata or whatever his name is. I just picked him up. I already know Dalvin Cook. I don't care. Give me
get this insurance plan activated.
All right, I'll move on here to a couple more games. Dallas was an underdog going into Los Angeles in that wonderful new SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. We all were in agreement that Dallas was going to win that game. I was a little surprised at how low scoring and how close and competitive that game was. There were a lot of penalties. I really wasn't a fan of that, but man, Justin Herbert.
Herbert's scary.
Yes, that dude is terrifying. He makes throws where you're just like, what the heck?
I'm very upset that we got rid of Phillip Rivers only to get that guy. So.
Yes, but Dallas ended up pulling that out on some miracle 56-yard field goal as the coaches didn't know where to look for the game clock as it ticked down all the way, and they didn't know how to manage the clock at the end. I don't know if you got anything to add in that one, Miller.
No. Surprising, though. Surprising. We all picked Dallas.
As we stay in unison, leads me to our final game that I'll discuss, the classic sportsbook trap. Kansas City Chiefs going to the Ravens in prime time. Kansas City favored by more than a field goal, 3.5 on the road. We all were in unison, all drinking that Mahomes Kool-Aid. This game is won. They're going to go ahead and drive down the field. They're down 1 point. Edwards-Helaire gets the ball on the 35 out of nowhere. Some dude from the Ravens, I could try and pronounce his name. It's like just sounds onomatopoeia. Aduawe, I think is his name. Legit is his name. Odahoweh is his name. Comes through, forces the fumble, leads to the Ravens getting the ball. Ravens taking care of business. I'll let Miller see if he's got anything to add first.
No, you probably shouldn't let me. I'm the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner in this league that I'm in. So like taking this guy all early, I'm just like, what is this guy doing? Not necessarily early. I don't know when I took him, but still too early. Whenever I took him, I could have gotten somebody better at that pick. So a little disappointed with how this Chiefs running game is turning out. Like they have all that talent that stretches the field, but they can't get some yardage in the middle of the field. Like they can't get 5 to 10 yards with the running back. It's just sad face.
Pretty much. That just describes the end of week 2.
Man, all right. To recap, that I went 10-6 last week, brought me to 18-13-1 on the season. Both Chris and Andrew went 6-10. Chris is coming up second, 16-15-1, and Miller is 13-18-1. That is the week 2 spreads. Let's see. Hopefully we can do a little bit better in week 3.
A lot of runway to go. I'll say that. Still a lot of runway to go.
Here we go, gentlemen. We're taking on the sports books again, trying to bounce back from last week and the overcorrection of week 2, taking on the lines in week 3. Here we go. I'm going to start us off with Thursday night football. Panthers going to the Texans, 8-point favorites on the road going against the Texans. It looks like I went with the Panthers here. Andrew also went with the Panthers. Chris was the lone man out, believing in the Texans.
That mark game that red while we're here. Jesus.
It's pretty ugly watch, not gonna lie. There wasn't much to look forward to. Christian McCaffrey injury early. DJ Moore fantasy owners may be the only happy people after that game.
As ugly or less ugly than Davis Mills' neck.
Hey.
Hey man, that guy stuck his neck out for the team. Okay.
Hey, there we go. It's he's a pest.
Never seen a giraffe play quarterback.
Giraffe play quarterback. All right.
Watching like an episode of BoJack Horseman.
Leads us to our next game. Washington football team going to Buffalo. Buffalo is a home favorite, more than a touchdown, 8 points. Looks like we are all in unison with the Washington football team. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
I think football team will cover. I still think that defense is pretty good, and I think Bills are probably riding that high from that Miami win last week, division win. They think that like that division's most likely easily theirs, and so yeah, I think Washington covers, Buffalo wins.
In agreement there. I think that they definitely lose that game, but it's a lot closer than 8. I'll go ahead and move on forward unless there's anything to add, Miller.
No, I've already touched on it. Scoring McLaurin, F1 McLaurin. Let's go. Heineke's not that bad. He can toss a pretty good ball.
All right. Brings us to the Ravens and Lions. Lions coming off of that Monday night shellacking by Aaron Rodgers, and the Ravens coming off of the biggest win they've had in probably a couple of years. Favored by more than a touchdown, 7.5 points. Looks like Andrew and I are favoring the Lions, while Chris is believing in the Ravens. Anything to add?
I fell for this last week with the Packers Lions game. Give me the Ravens. Excuse me. Fine.
Sounds good. It's tough to bet on those backdoor covers. I also was jaded and screwed over by the goddamn Lions. Leading us to the most anticipated quarterback in recent Chicago history, Justin Fields, making his first start, going to Cleveland against the Browns. Browns favored by a touchdown. Looks like I am the lone man out here picking the Browns to cover that one, while Chris and Andrew are believing in the Bears. Why do we disagree?
I just don't see the Browns being able to cover. Once again, I think they kind of play down to their competition sometimes. Baker might surprise me, but I think Justin Fields and the Bears will keep it competitive at the very least.
Who would have thought I would be OBJ's biggest fan? The return of Odell going to improve the Cleveland offense, and I think that game isn't very close.
When are they just going to realize that they're a running football team? Like they spend so much time worried about what these dang receivers are doing. I understand they're 2 of the best in the league. Like, put them up against any other wide receiving core. They're some of the best, but that's a running football team. Like they run the ball very well, and they just do not want to do that for some reason.
Runs open up the pass. We'll see. I guess I'll just lead on to the next game here. The wonderful Indianapolis Colts, and Carson Wentz probably just got injured by me talking about this game. Getting 5.5 points, going to Nashville against division rival Tennessee Titans, coming off of their overtime win in Seattle. Looks like Chris and I are in agreement on this broken wheel of a wagon team called the Indianapolis Colts, while Andrew is a lone man out here picking the Titans to win by more than 5.5. Why do you think so, Chris? Why do you think so, Andrew?
I think this is a correction game for the Titans. I think that they're able to kind of get back on track here. They're going to come out and they're going to play kind of that smash mouth football that made them the playoff team that they were last year. I think these dropsies for AJ Brown are going to get figured out here. And, we almost saw it last week, but Julio in the end zone, that's a mighty fine thing to see. That man is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So to see him kind of have a nice little reemergence, if you will, a nice chemistry, I hope to see him not be ruled out of bounds by a blade of grass and a heel. This week. Give that man that touchdown. Let's go Titans.
All right. We'll see. I'm sure Carson Wentz will find a way to screw me again like he did last week with his 2 turnovers within the 5-yard line. Anyways, I guess we didn't learn. We are all in agreement that the Chiefs will cover a 6.5 spread against the Chargers, even though we all got smoked by this last week. Chiefs have not covered a game in 15 straight games. Seems like Vegas has a pretty good idea on Chiefs games.
This is not so much the Chiefs in this game. It's the spread. It's the 6.5 of just like, I think Chiefs most likely win by a touchdown. So yeah, if like say this was 7.5, I would go with the Chargers, but since it's 6.5, I'm sure it's moved. We won't get into that, but I'm going to go with Chiefs at 6.5. That's more the spread than the Chiefs. Let's not make it 16 games straight.
We'll see. Justin Herbert is terrifying. It'll be a battle of two of the best quarterbacks in the league. We'll see. Most likely there'll be an extra point missed to screw us, like the sports books know, because they just know. Moving on, we're going to New England. And we have Jameis Winston and the Saints trying to bounce back from that loss to Carolina, getting 2.5 points against the Patriots. I'll let Chris tell us why he thinks Jameis and Sean Payton on the road are going to win this game.
I think they bounced back from just like that week 2 embarrassment. Like that was just terrible. And this is the game that like they need to bounce back. If they lose this game, and if they do it in a fashion where it's like, yeah, like Patriots kick their ass, it's going to be alarm signals for New Orleans. And it's going to be like, are they looking for a new coach? Are they looking for a new QB? Are they blowing up the whole thing? Like this is a big game for them, I think. And I think they realize that internally. And so that's why I'm going with the Saints personally. But if they lose this, like bad signs there in the Big Easy.
Alarm bells will be ringing.
Why are you picking the Patriots, Miller?
Because I just don't think Belichick's going to look like he has pie on his face. We saw it last week with this like Jets quarterback. I mean, there's no way he's going to let Jameis come out here. They take away the number one thing that you like to do. And so if that's like having Jameis like complete passes and move the ball down the field instead of just like throwing deep balls and like praying, then this is actually going to make Jameis think like, you know, use his skills as a quarterback to kind of like figure out who the open man is. So I just think this game of chess, but Bill Belichick has the like upper hand as far as like against with this talent. He does more with his talent and has the upper hand. So I think that, I mean, and that's not saying much for their offensive side. I think they're still figuring things out, but I think as far as on the defense, I think he's got the upper hand. So I'm going Patriots.
I would agree with a lot of what you said there. Belichick's a defensive mastermind. I expect him to completely take out Alvin Kamara, probably the Saints like best player, and how they're going to move the ball and make Jameis beat him. I don't really have faith in that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Mac Jones has yet to throw for 200 yards, but they definitely seem like they're running that old school Tom Brady ball control offense. Just run the ball, just don't make mistakes, and just let the defense win the game.
Yeah.
Oh, leading us to this albatross of a game, definitely a butt game of the week contender. Atlanta Falcons going to the Giants after the Giants lost a heartbreaker on Thursday night because they went offsides on a field goal attempt. Giants are favored by 3 points. Looks like me and Miller are in agreement again on the Giants and Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones bad? Maybe he should run more. What's going on there? He looks like oddly athletic. Maybe that's because he's white. I don't know. But I will go ahead and lend it over here to Chris to tell us why he thinks the Falcons are going to go ahead and cover this.
I guess I'm just cha-cha-chaing on this lonely island again. Like I think people are just way too down on the Falcons this week. Like they still have Matt Ryan and still have some decent players. So like and that Giants team is not good. Even though they beat Washington, but it was like they beat Washington with Taylor Heineke. Or no, they didn't even win that game. What am I saying?
Yep.
Man. Yeah, so that just confirms Falcons.
Analysis.
Anything? Yes, hashtag analysis.
I think
send me your angry tweets at Billings Space on Twitter.
I think that there's a player on the New York Giants that needs to have a decent game here named Saquon Barkley, for the sake of everybody playing fantasy football and people just enjoying the game in general. I think if he doesn't come back, it's kind of a sad sight. A lot of squandered talent down there in the Giants. So That's one of the one key things I'm looking for in this game, even though it could be a butt game. It's like, I need to see that dude run. He's way too good, and we just can't put him out to pasture yet. So that's it.
Let me tell you, Jason Garrett will find a way to run the ball. Let me tell you, his Saquon will get touches. He will go straight up the middle. It'll be very boring and unimaginative, but he will find a way to get Saquon the ball.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and lead us to our next game here. It is Joe Burrow coming off of the worst performance of his career, going to division rival Pittsburgh. Also coming off of a terrible performance. Kind of seems like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. Don't really believe in the Steelers, but yet I believe the Steelers will go ahead and cover this game.
Can I put a little interjection here? This is coming as of 9:07 this morning. TJ Watt, hashtag Steelers. TJ Watt has been downgraded to out for Sunday's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a pretty interesting week since we have breaking news in the middle of the pod. I don't know if either of you want to change your picks, but I will actually be changing my pick to the Bengals right now.
Highest paid defensive player in the game. It's crazy. Once you sign that contract, all of a sudden you can't play games. It's wild.
You just get injured easier.
I guess so. He's like, oh, I see you, JJ. I see you doing that. I'll just follow suit here. I think the Steelers just flourish in that underdog role. I'm still going to stick with them as both of them changed their picks to the Bengals. And Billings hands me the maracas for my little Lonely Island cha-cha. All right, then. All right. I guess that's
and I'm down on that Steelers team, and like you at least thought that maybe like TJ Watt would just make Burrow uncomfortable all day. If that's not the case, like, man, it's hard for me to get up with the Steelers on this one. Sorry.
All right.
Enjoy your time on the island.
I guess we'll go ahead and keep it kind of island based here as we go to Jacksonville and the hang in there kitty Jaguars getting 7.5 points at home versus Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Looks like me and Miller are betting on the backdoor cover of 7.5 while Billings stays with the Cardinals. Why are you on the lonely island here, Chris?
That Jags team is not good. I'm not going in there with the hanging kitty cats.
It's tough. I can't really argue against that. The Cardinals look like they're rolling right now. I think they are going to get off to that hot start that you did predict earlier, which leads us to the mountains, to Denver, leaving it with Chris. Jets going to the Broncos. Zach Wilson did he even look like a competent quarterback last week? Short answer is no, as my friend Joe calls him, Chipotle Drew Lock. Going to Denver to go ahead and get 10.5 points.
Largest spread of the week.
Largest spread of the week. It did start at 5.5 and got to 10.5. Maybe that should tell us something, but it tells me nothing.
Me is just the PTSD Broncos fan. It's just an insane spread for the Broncos. So I went with the Jets. Like, I think the Broncos win, but like 10.5. Give me a break, Vegas. Get out of here.
I'm sticking with the Broncos. I just think the secondary is too strong. The defense is too good. And I just don't think the Jets can move the ball.
It's a lot of points, pretty much. It's a lot of points.
That is true. Leading us to another game where I'm going to go ahead and be on the lonely island. Dolphins at Raiders. This one hurts me to pick inside because I watched that shellacking last week, 35-0, Jacoby Brissett, the brisket that's overdone. Is it cooked? I don't know. Getting 4 points, going to Vegas. I think people are a little too high on the Raiders. I'm picking the Dolphins. I'm going Flores going to go ahead and coach that team up, and they're at least going to cover that spread.
I'm going to say something, but is Derek Carr possibly a decent quarterback?
No.
Oh.
He says no. I call him
immediate no's.
I call him AFC Kirk Cousins. It's all good.
He's classic peaks and valleys. Welcome to the peak right now.
Okay.
Let me show you the valley here in a couple weeks.
Possibly after this week.
Yeah, you never know, but like, no.
No.
Like, sorry, like, dude, like, he has his moments, but it just like can't be consistent. And so, but I went with the Raiders. So.
There he is.
All that shit talking about Derek Carr just to pick the Raiders. That's typical fashion here. Leading us to a probably like one of the games of the week here. Tom Brady and the Bucs going to the Rams, both 2-0, both teams averaging 30 points a game. I think the last time this happened was in 2019 with the Chiefs facing the Ravens. Chiefs ended up winning the Super Bowl, so very good chance that one of these teams is going to be in the Super Bowl. Looks like Chris is on the lonely island with the alien robot himself, Tom Brady. Tell us why the Bucs are covering on the road, 2.5 points, winning by a field goal.
Don't pick against Brady. Just don't do it. I know better. If I could, I'd really just abstain from this game because probably most likely no matter what I pick, it's going to be wrong. So yeah, Bucs.
Here's a fun little nugget for you guys. This is Tom Brady's first time professionally playing in LA.
That's surprising. Seeing as how that guy
Weird.
is like,
I would have figured
ambassador of the league.
Played there last time like the Raiders were in LA, as old as he is.
The Colts.
I picked the Rams, home dogs. Defense is legit. I think Stafford is going to go ahead and make that Tampa Bay defense work. And Tampa Bay is dealing with a couple of injuries. I believe Antonio Brown's still on the COVID list and Jason Pierre-Paul is out. And I just don't think that Bucs team is going to win all their games. This is probably one of the toughest games on the schedule. Leading us to special teams extraordinaire, the kicking team that you always want to bet against, Minnesota Vikings, hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Looks like we're all in agreement. Vikings, even though they can't kick field goals, are going to cover this, or they're going to get 2 points, and they're going to win this game against Seattle. Why are we picking against Russell Wilson? Tell me why.
They just don't look good. They didn't look good at home last week, so why would they be good on the road this week? And like the Vikings defense is still pretty good, so I don't know, Vikings.
I just assume every time that Russell Wilson is throwing it deep, that Tyler Lockett is just like out there, like 50 yards deep, just going to catch it. But I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that on the road. So hopefully we get this one right where Minnesota is able to cover with some points and a field goal. Hopefully they don't mess this up, fumble it at the last second.
Leading us to the Sunday night game, Aaron Rodgers, fresh off of his 4-touchdown performance with the other Aaron, living it up, getting 3.5 points, going to San Francisco. I'm Lonely Island man again, picking the Niners, despite that poor secondary play. I just think everybody is way too soon to be like, Aaron Rodgers is fixed. They beat the Lions, who were 10.5 point underdogs at home, convincingly. That
it wasn't that though. It's like the fire in Aaron Rodgers' eyes during that second half of just like, okay, like he's pissed. He's ready to just come out here and score. So that's more where I'm coming from. Like the guy just looks like he's re-engaged at this point. It's like, all right, I heard y'all talking shit, and so he's gonna come out and probably perform.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, this is hometown crowd, isn't it? He's going home. He's going to put on a show for everybody in California. So I think
Aaron Rodgers has not won a game in the state of California in the last 5 years. So
well,
take
then.
that.
So he's due. So you're saying he's due.
So you're
do what you want with that info. Do what you want with that info. I'm taking the Niners, just better on the lines. I just think they run the ball, and they're just going to the half point, the hook really did hurt, but I think they are going to end up taking control and winning that game. Leading us to the Monday night game, Eagles, Cowboys. Cowboys home opener. Cowboys favored by 4 points. Eagles team off of a disappointing loss to the Niners, who we just talked about. Looks like, again, I'm on the island. Rivalry games are always close. I think the Cowboys probably win this game by about a field goal. The lines are pretty strong for Philly. That's usually the strength of their offense and the defense. It'll probably be a really good game in the trenches. I'll see why you guys disagree.
Bill?
What you got?
Yeah, I've told you guys in our little threads and whatnot, the Eagles coming out in those beat Dallas shirts is dumb. This is the Letterman jackets that the Texans wore, like 2.0. Anytime a team tries to do that, it just comes off as amateurish and collegiate, and they're going to get their ass kicked by Dallas is what my prediction is. That's not a very good Eagles team at all. And I think Zeke is going to have a little bit of a breakout game here.
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'm going. I think Dallas is just like the momentum's building up here. This is one of those games where they're going to be they need to show their dominance in this division. And I think putting a hurting on Philly is going to be able to kind of like give you that extra needed boost to, have Dallas come out as a powerhouse team now. I think they have all of the pieces are healthy. Everybody's, on the offensive side, so they need to score points. Hopefully the defensive side can stand up and at least, make some plays. And I mean, really, that's really all that needs to be said. Dallas is the better team in this, so they kind of need to push themselves forward. But yeah, I think they're going to be able to.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's really all I got.
Tony Pollard RB1 there.
You guys aren't ready to consider him RB1 because of how much money you just gave Zeke, but he pretty much is your new RB1. Like they list Zeke as RB1 just to not hurt his feelings, but I'm pretty sure Tony Pollard is. I mean, he's that change of speed that like Zeke kind of has that, like, that cadence, but Tony Pollard seems to be just like being shot out of a cannon back there. He comes out and I mean, he's sprinting. So it's just nice to see for Tony Pollard, not you.
Okay. Let's be honest.
Nice to see you too, Tony.
Nice to see you too, Tony.
Pretty interesting discussion. I don't really hear this type of discussion around Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I really don't think Tony Pollard can run between the tackles like Zeke can, so I think that's a big difference, but I think they've figured out a way to use them in complementary fashion. That is all we have for the week 3 spreads. Join us next week as we recap how we got beat by the sportsbook.